Hey Capricorn, I'm Empress Rose. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so we take what works, we leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, go check your other major placements. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus are all your major placements, but also I've been really into North Node lately. So, there you go. All right, we're going to start off with an intuitive vibe from these oracle cards, and then we'll go to the Muse Tarot, which is a new deck for me for a more traditional tarot reading, but it's not going to be very traditional because the deck has all these like little things about it. I've had it for a long time, haven't been able to connect with it, and it has all these little like, it changes the names of things, and so all those little glitches in my brain open things up for more intuitive readings, but also kind of confuse me. Also, I'm a little groggy from Thanksgiving still. So, lots of unfamiliar foods. Or not just unfamiliar, I love unfamiliar foods. Unfamiliar types of foods. All right, so this is the Oracle deck of Moonology and Work Your Light. We already have one popping out here. Oh my. Okay. And something strange, it feels very strange about my setup today, and I can't figure out what it is. So anyway, I feel a little discombobulated, a little, I don't know. All right. Oh, Sagittarius got this one yesterday. Okay, Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? Taking care of yourself, taking lots of care of that precious little being inside you, that little bundle of joy inside of you, nurturing yourself. Our real mothers in real life, and I say this as a mother myself, are just people and not capable of meeting all of our needs. So if you find some way in which your mother was, in which you have not been mothered, then you provide that for yourself. So this is providing some sort of nurturing, some sort of care, and it could be physical, because our mothers do so much physical work for us. It could also be spiritual, emotional care for yourself. So, and it's going to be gentle. We're not talking about, realistic mothers. We're talking about the ideal mother. How would she care for you? And then providing that for yourself. In my playlists, I have songs that I frequently reference, and one of them is Sinead O'Connor and Mary J. Blige doing This Is to Mother You. I find that to be a very healing song, and this card always brings that up for me. Step out of your comfort zone. North Node, that's funny. North Node, step out of your comfort zone. I was just talking about how I find that very interesting. North Node is a lot about our journey through life, and the lessons that we're picking up, and the things that we need to learn in this lifetime, in this journey that we have. On this particular one, there's going to be different things, and it's always a reminder to me that we're all on very unique, very individual journeys. So one size fits all advice is bullshit. What's really great advice for one person is really self-destructive advice for another. So this North Node card reminds me that you're on an incredibly unique path. It's very unique to you. There might be other people with a little bit similar paths, but not everybody, right? There's going to be a huge variety of what we're here to learn and what we're here to unlearn. So stepping out of your comfort zone, but this has to do with your greater journey, with the lessons that you're learning. So, if you tend to not be very self-sacrificing, this might be a call to be a little more self-sacrificing. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel awkward, but there might be lessons for you to learn. And to me, this card is starting to mean so much more than it used to, as far as like just me doing a lot of digging around my North Node. And really seeing how, these decisions about how I've had to change how I operate in the world. And so, yeah, shifting how you operate. And then there's also something here about that. So it looks like creating some sort of boundary or releasing some sort of pattern. We have unbound. So it's not, maybe it is about a boundary. I don't know why that came out, but unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So this is exactly what we're talking about with this step out of your comfort zone, North Node. This is how you've done things needs to shift. Who you've been is fine. It's who you were meant to be, but there's some sort of shift. And this could be, we're all going to be at different points with this. This could just be a small shift in how you deal with something. Maybe you haven't been very nurturing, and it's time for you to, that's part of your North Node journey. It's to learn how to nurture more. So some way that you've been, some pattern of interacting with the world and with life is, it's time for that. That was the first part. That was that part. And it's time for you to learn another way of doing something, another way of approaching something, possibly even yourself, another way of interacting with yourself, another way, because we have this mothering yourself, we have this step out of your comfort zone, and we have this, creating new patterns, letting go of old patterns and old ways of being. So it could be, how you present to the world and how you move in the world, but it could also be how you present to yourself and how you approach yourself. And maybe Capricorn, you've been a little bit harsh on yourself, or you've learned how to be harsh on yourself. But now it's time to release that pattern of, strict discipline and to-do lists and intensity, and maybe it's time for you to bring in some gentleness, or it could be the other way around. Maybe you've been very gentle and it's time for you to bring in some intensity, some more structure to your life, or something like that. But this is such a North Node. These two cards together are looking just like creating a new pattern. What you've been doing, it's time to move on. It's not that that was wrong. It's not that that was terrible. It's just time to create a new way of interacting, either with yourself or with the world. I really love those two cards together. Releasing soul patterns and contracts and past lives, and step out of your comfort zone, North Node. So I would encourage you to do some research on that North Node journey. I find it very fascinating and very illuminating with how my life has unfolded and the lessons I've been learning. So, but we're doing this very gently. I think this is where we're maybe getting this mother yourself. We're not harshly saying you've been wrong before, you were terrible, and now you have to be this different way. We're saying you have been the way you've been, and that worked for as long as it did, and now it's not working, and now you need to allow yourself to shift into almost a whole new energy and a whole new way of being. And we're doing it so gently and so kindly, because it doesn't work to be harsh on ourselves, because it creates a shame issue, and then we have to deal with it being first having to be ashamed of how we've been and who we've been. So, and then that just creates layers of issues and difficulties. So we don't want to do that. We want to be extremely gentle and forgiving and loving for who we've been, who we've been has brought us to this point, this North Node point, this point of shift, of change, of how we're approaching. It could just be a situation, could be the whole of life, right? So, but we want to do that incredibly gently and in a very nurturing way. And understanding that who we've been brings us to this point, right? So we can have so much gratitude for who we've been and for the place that they've brought us to. The place of seeing something and understanding something now. Okay, I'm moving on to, I am moving on. I'm moving on to the Muse Tarot. There will be some glitches. Here, my brain will glitch, and it's kind of wild. Okay. I just started working with it like a week ago. I've had it for a long time. Didn't connect with it. It called to me. I had some really great personal readings with it. And now I'm like feeling a little in over my head, but that's okay. I kind of like that feeling too. Feels like an adventure. All right, Capricorn, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's the issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. This is fascinating. One thing with this deck is I am having one heck of a time trying to keep it upright. So I keep getting reversals, which isn't helping with all the names are different, of the suits are all different, and some of the major arcana are different. And then I'm getting reversals where I wasn't expecting reversals. And then sometimes the pictures don't have anything to do with my interpretation of the card. So it's just kind of a little bit of a wild ride this week. In your recent past, you have 9 of Voices. You have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fears. This could have been driving some of your behavior, some of the ways that you've been interacting with the world, and maybe even interacting with yourself and your loved ones. A lot of insecurity, a lot of anxiety, fears, being literally pretty safe in the world, you know, but the fears are within. I want to say this, there could be a little PTSD here too from some situation that's come in, but I also see like a possibility that you've intuited something, but you don't know what it means. And so it's creating anxiety and fear. Did I show you this card? Here she is. So it's creating some anxiety and fear because you're not quite sure what it is that you're feeling or what it is that there's information coming in, but you're not, you haven't been able to digest it in a really productive way. And instead it's created a lot of anxiety and fear. So these are, you know, you've been safe, you've been okay, physically, but this is just solely the inside, the voices in your head. It's called 9 of Voices. It's 9 of Swords, but they call it 9 of Voices. The voices in your head have been kind of an asshole to you. Maybe this is where, you know, we're trying to shift. I don't know when my phone clicked off, but it did. But I know we weren't to your current situation. We were at 9 of Voices. So we were at the Nightmare card, the inner landscape, having issues with anxiety, possibly some PTSD, some worries. You've been in a very worried, anxious state. You're needing to be maybe shifting to be more gentle with yourself. Maybe that's where this mothering card is coming in, because this is the inner voices, the 9 of Voices here. These are your inner voices. They haven't been very kind to you. Your own voices, your own inner being hasn't been very gentle. It's been a little anxious and a little afraid, and maybe a little difficult. So in your current situation, you have Muse of Materials. This is King of Pentacles, actually, Muse of Materials. And this is the Rose Gardener. And the Rose Gardener has worked very, very, very long and hard for seasons after seasons, and is beginning to, you know, reap the rewards of what they've done. They've manifested something, they've created something through their hard work and diligence. So your hard work and diligence, so you're in a space of hard work and diligence, having achieved something, having accomplished something through planning, through in the real world. It's like material abundance coming in here, material harvest of something that you've worked very hard for is coming in right now. In your inner landscape, you have the Sun card. So this is a lot of positivity, a lot of joy. I always want to say a lot of clarity and growth here and healing. So this is what you're hoping for, I think, is growth and healing. And with the Star Mother, I'm definitely seeing some desire for healing here and some gentleness, maybe healing from this anxious past where you were feeling that the things coming at you were weren't safe. You weren't feeling safe. You weren't feeling secure. So there is this like positivity in your inner landscape. This is your hopes, your fears, and what's going on. So you're hoping for some positivity, hoping for, it's very powerful, powerful joy, delight, clarity, growth, and healing is the Sun card. So that's what you're hoping for. That's what's on your mind. That's really what you're thinking about, is that growth and that healing, and maybe even some clarifying light shining in on a situation that has been a little cloudy and murky. And then we have in your what the issue is, or what's going on here, what we're sort of consulting about is this Knight of Voices. So that's going to be your Knight of Swords, and it's going to be ideas, communications. It's coming in reversed here, as it does in this position. So it comes in reversed, and it's about It could be about being a little too overbearing. The energy behind some communications is being a little too intense, and the energy coming in way too intense for that. The Knight of Voices could also be about truth. And not coming in. You know, you're hoping for this clarity. You're hoping for the Sun card, this healing clarity to come in. But this Knight of Voices may not be coming in. That would be bringing like a courageous communication, honesty, clarity, a lot of that coming in. And that might not be what's coming in right now. It's missing from the equation is that honesty, that courageous, honest communication. That the Knights are going to be courageous, they're going to be about communication. Of course, voices are about communication. So this should be, ideally, we'd be seeing a quick, honest, clear communication, clearing things up, allowing for healing from if that's a painful communication, or bringing healing to a situation that has been murky and needs some clarity and some light in it. So this Knight of Voices here, not coming in, or if that is coming in, it's too intense, it's too overbearing, it's too fast, it's too quick. So, and you could be toggling between those two. And I say that because in your landscape, your external landscape, your externally, there's this two of material situation. There are a lot of materials here. We have 3 voices and 3 materials. Our major arcana is the Sun, so that's wanting clarity, wanting growth. And I see that here, wanting growth with this releasing old patterns, wanting growth with this step out of your comfort zone. So we're wanting growth, we're craving growth. But there's also issues of communication and clear thinking. So we may not be thinking very clearly about a situation. We may not be communicating very clearly about a situation. Because the voices are all reversed. And then these materials is this situation is about something in the physical world, manifesting something, bringing something about in the physical world. So we're wanting to do that, but there's communication issues here. So we have this 2 of materials. So this is going to be just beginning to understand something in the real world. And it doesn't quite, the 2s don't usually fit neatly into the suit. Like, so materials would be the physical situation coming into physical manifestation, something actually happening in the real world. But the 2 is a little bit of like not being able to quite grasp what's happening, needing to juggle lots of things. There's just a lot of things that need to be juggled here in the real world. These are real world things like work and kids and all these things that need to be juggled and handled and managed. And so there's a little bit of a sense that we're on the cusp of being a little bit out of control. Like there's just, you're not sure-footed in this handling of some sort of physical situation, or the situation itself is just slightly teetering on imbalance, out of control. These are things that don't typically mix, so they have to be juggled. And it is a strain and a struggle right now. So there's something in your environment that's needing to be juggled, needing to be handled. I want to say expertly and well, and you may have a lot of anxiety about not being able to deal with all these things that are going on. But there are probably 2 major things going on that aren't meshing well and need to be handled sort of separately, but they don't. You're struggling to do that, or somebody here is struggling to do that, or just the situation's in reality is a little overwhelming, or a little difficult to figure out the details of and how to, because we're just at the beginning here of bringing something into existence. And we're just figuring out all the sort of working parts, all the gears, and it's a little overwhelming and difficult to handle. So here we have an accidental reversal here. In your to-do list, 6 of Voices. 6 of Voices would normally be leaving a place of pain, making a choice, making a decision, possibly even physically moving a place of pain, a place of suffering, taking a leap of faith into an unknown, away from a known painful situation. But we have it in reverse, so this seems to me to say you're not leaving this situation. Do not move forward. Do not try to escape the land of pain for the unknown. Stay here. You're staying here, even though there might be some difficulty here. There might be some anxiety about what's going on here. But you're staying in a situation that feels fairly uncomfortable for you. And that's interesting because we're releasing soul patterns. So perhaps your pattern has been to run off, to avoid, and this is not avoiding. Do not avoid the pain here. The Six of Voices is that there's pain here, but stop running from it. Stop avoiding it. You may have in the past avoided dealing with that type of issue, that type of thing, not wanting to look directly into your pain. This is reminding me of, like, you know, pain and these difficult, sometimes horrible experiences that come towards us are like waves, and they're, you know, they can be pretty big. And one of the best ways to avoid being tumbled by the wave and rolled by the wave and getting a bunch of salt water way up your nose is to dive into the wave, to sort of, in a way, like take control of the emotional situation. Not control, but you can see this emotional situation, you can see this pain here, and instead of trying to avoid it, trying to outrun it, or letting it just like overwhelm you and tumble you, you can dive right into it and therefore have a little more say in how that wave hits you. And then once you're underneath the curl, it's a lot easier it's a lot less destructive, right? Because it's not taking you by surprise. The wave is no longer in control. The wave of emotions is no longer in control. So when you choose to move towards your pain rather than away from something that's painful or difficult or feels unmanageable, when you choose to move towards something like that, you actually end up in a much stronger position and can move through it much more quickly than if you're just either running from it or waiting for waiting for it or just being tumbled by it. And I do want to also say, it reminds me of giving birth a little bit. When those pains come in, you want to have your breathing down. You want to be in front of the wave of pain. They really call it a wave of pain coming through, those contractions. And through your breath, you stay ahead of it. Not ahead of it. You can't control it, but you can, if you prepare for it before it comes in, you can ride the wave of pain. It sounds so much more pleasant than it really is, but you can ride the wave of pain and suffering. So I see pain and suffering here, but I see you having been running from it, and it's time to deal with it head on. And that might be the stepping out of your comfort zone and releasing yourself from old patterns of avoiding painful situations, avoiding painful conversations, avoiding moving away and just like, this is bullshit, moving on. In this particular situation that we're dealing with, that you maybe, that should be sort of triggered in your mind and you should be thinking about it. It's to stay with this pain, stay with whatever suffering is here, not moving on. And this is where your inner mother is going to become helpful. She's going to, I keep talking about birth in this too. So she's going to be holding your hand, helping you breathe through this. All of that. You're accessing that inner mother that's going to help you through this painful experience here. Or some of the pain. I mean, it looks like something really beautiful is manifesting here, but there's something unspoken or something there's something unspoken, there's something uncommunicated here, felt deeply, pain that's felt deeply, and I think you need to look into it and need to engage with it. And then where you're going is 9 of materials. This is whatever you have, Muse of materials, you have 9 of materials. You have 2 cards here of manifesting. They're in the upright, bringing something into actual reality that you've worked hard for. Both of the Muse or King of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles, both of these indicate something that you have worked very long and very hard for and put a lot of effort in, and they both indicate something that's coming to fruition, that's coming into reality, that's being created, that is going to exist. And in this 9 of materials, you're going to feel worthy of it. You're going to feel that you earned it. You're going to feel proud of the work that you've done. You're going to be very aware of how much work you've done. And it could be inner work, work with your thoughts, with how you think about things, work with how you communicate about things, and it's going to bring in something very beautiful for you. You're going to have worked hard for it, and you're going to have earned it, and you're going to know that you earned this, and it's going to be making you very happy. Look, she's harvesting all her flowers. She's the flower gardener, and she's harvesting all those flowers, and she feels very proud, very happy. And it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work, and she made it, and she's here now. So very beautiful energy you're heading into, but I see that you need to stay with some pain. This could also be like, instead of moving on from a situation, figuring out how you think about the situation could be influencing the actual manifestation of it. Our thoughts are so powerful. So thinking about, how do my thoughts influence this? How do I just feel like, the situation's bullshit and run off? Or do I stay and work and be like, well, the situation, I don't like it right now, but it could be fixed. It could be workable. I can work with this. I can do this. I can handle this difficulty. And then you got 2 cards from the Wild Kuan. She's usually so polite with just 1 card, but, oh, wow, we've got, oh my gosh, there's a lot. There's 2 people going from conflict to being able to work together. The conflict is here for a reason, for a purpose, right? As we were talking about before, like who you've been and how you've handled a situation brought you to this point. So there's not a lot of, you can regret it. You can realize that maybe you made mistakes, but all those mistakes lead you to learning. So as long as we're learning, nothing's wasted. So we have the hand gentles the war. No matter how much chaos there seems to be in your world, trust it. Oh, this is that chaos right here, right? It is just what is necessary to move you into the right place at the right time for what is meant to be in your future. When it is no longer needed, her hand shall gentle and end the war. So I feel like with this North Node here, there's been some sort of anxiety, some sort of difficulty that's no longer needed. With this North Node and Unbound, it's just no longer needed, and you can. It's time to lay something to rest, and gentling the war. It brought you here, so that's good. But now it's time to move on and find a different way of interacting or being. And then we have good fortune granted. Just as there are physical seasons upon the earth, the soul too goes through its seasons. Spring in the soul heralds a time of birth. New ideas, new inspirations, new energy to take action, new life, new connections, and new gifts abound. New life and good fortune are headed your way. With this Muse of materials and this 9 of materials right here, yeah, that is a confirmation that there's some good fortune, good manifest. This is like they grew the fruit. They're gardeners, right? And we're talking about this rose gardener. These are vegetable gardeners, and they grew the fruit, and here's their harvest. So good fortune is headed your way. We've got several repetitions of that. So Capricorn, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. Very much appreciate them. And yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.